Okay, we're on. We're back in John's kitchen. Let's see, what's today? It's February 2020, the 10th. Ugh, focus of February 2020. So today, I've just recently started doing cooking videos again because I don't know, once you start something, you just sort of get into it. So this is roasted lamb. This is 1 kilogram of New Zealand spring lamb, boneless. I roasted this in the oven for a little over an hour and seasoned it. And it's going to form the basis of lamb stew with beer. So we're gonna got some olive oil. We got some beef stock that I made. We got tomato paste. We got some little flour in there to thicken it. Got a really nice nut brown ale, a tall boy, and the company is Black Oak Brewing Company. And years ago, someone told me that beer and lamb really go well together in a stew, and it does. And salt and pepper. I've got some stalks from rosemary. Here's rosemary. So 2 tablespoons, and all cut up. Some of my mise en place, my preparation. So I got some 2 onions, a couple of stalks of celery. I'm a celery fan. Don't like celery, don't add it. I got about 15 cloves of garlic in there, cut in half because I like things chunky. And I got 2 large carrots that are basically rough chopped. So the whole idea is I'm going to combine this all in the pot and make a lovely lamb stew with beer. And let's see, so turn our element on and we'll get this going. And I serve this over rice, and I already pre-cooked my rice. So this is a meal for tomorrow. It's almost, let's see, what time is it? It's getting late. It's 7:30 on a Monday night. So this will be basically a stew. This will probably make about 4 to 5 portions, actually. And I serve it over brown rice, and in this case it's basmati brown rice, which is really nice. And I don't know if you can. So I'm gonna start separating that. I don't know if you can get really close up of that. Can I get close up? This is very fluffy. I love basmati, but I'm a fan of brown rice because I like fiber. So let's see how we do this. Can you see the fluffy? Probably see the steam because I just cooked it. Anyways, trust me, it's nice and fluffy. So, okay, so I'm going to come back in a little bit, and we're going to sweat this down. The carrots take longer, so we're going to add that later when the stew is doing. So we're going to sweat all this down, which means just saute it until it's soft. That's sweat. These are little French cooking terms that I learned when I used to be a cook. So many years ago. And yeah, so I'll be back and you'll see it frying in the pan. We'll whip this stew together and then we'll chill out. I don't know, take a shot of my microwave. Focus. Yeah, we'll come back soon and we'll show you how to put this stew together. Come back soon. Okay, so we're coming back. So we've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. And it's just starting to smoke, just a little lightly. So that means it's hot. So we're going to come with our onion, celery, and garlic mixture. And wait till this gets nice and hot. It's smoking. Boom! Into the pot. And do a little stir. Get that sizzle action. I noticed as I film this, I'm really right-handed, so it's a little awkward me stirring with my left hand. But you can also do this handled, do the shake action. I used to love doing this in big kitchens with much bigger pots. So anyways, we're going to sweat this down. This is going to take probably 5 minutes, actually. You get a little color on it, not too much, eh? So initially this pot was very hot, but because there's so much vegetables in there, it actually starts to cool it down. So I think I said in my last video, we always add a little salt in the beginning. And I like to add sea salt. Just for the, and your hand's going to go bam, with that, and like this, bam, bam. You see that, eh? Bam. That's emerald. Anyone remembers him? Good guy. So a little something. So that helps bring out the salt helps bring out the water in basically everything, I guess, meat included. And it helps in the sweating process and making it soft. And another way of making things soft is you can cover this. But, now let's cover this. I've got it covered. Soccer doing this one-handed. Let's cover it. Lower the heat a little bit. And, yeah, and I'll let that sweat down 5 minutes. And we'll add our, what else we're going to add? Actually, we'll add our lamb. Actually, let's start heating that up. Okay, so I'll heat that up in the back to get some of that fat going. And so the way this works is I'm going to combine the lamb and the sweated down vegetables. And then we're going to take this beer and we're going to deglaze this roasting pan that has all these caramelized bits of roasted lamb. And I'm thinking this took about an hour and a half in the oven. I think I started it at 450. I did this yesterday. Sometimes I do things ahead because I'm busy at work, and it's hard to do everything from scratch all at once. So if you have time, you can make these things ahead, eh? And it's just faster in the end, eh? And in the end, I'm going to add, because peas and carrots go well, and they also go well with the stew. So this will take an hour or two to simmer, and the peas are the last thing I'm going to add. And also the rosemary is I'll be adding that chopped toward the end too, just because it tends to overcook, and you sort of want it over green, if I'm saying that right. Yeah, so I'll be back again. This is my little holder where I hold my phone, so I'm able to pause it. That's the extent of my editing technique. Let's put my cloth away. Sorry, I don't really have a really nice kitchen that I could do this in, but I'm doing my best, and we'll be back. Okay, so we're coming back. So our mixture of onions, garlic, and celery has been sweating down, and we're getting a little color, which is okay because look at our lamb, it's all brown, so that's, I'm getting a little steam action in the camera. Right? Woo! Love that. Okay, because that's all good, because the color is good, flavor. Wish I could center this. I seem to wander around here. Okay. Yes, the amateur at work. Okay. Okay, are we ready to... So I'm having a little problem with my oven door. My oven door is broken. So I've got a very old stove. I use this old rag. I wonder why I only got 2 views the last time to stuff this in. Okay, I gotta do a quick timeout to fix my oven. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. My oven door just plopped open. I keep it closed by stuffing this rag in. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, so I can't do this with both hands, so pretend I'm going to actually grind the pepper in there. I'd like to do that because I'd like to put some pepper in there, but yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm just realizing my garlic needs to be softer, actually, because it's quite big. So, actually, I'm going to keep sweating this down. So let's sweat it down for another, I'll just say 5 minutes. And then we'll combine the lamb, the flour, and the stock, and we'll start putting this stew together. Okay, be back again. Okay, we're back about 5 minutes later. Everything's nice and soft in there. So we're going to throw the lamb in there now. believe I can do it without a pot because it's soaked up. And oil is a good thing when you do that. You want lots of fat in there because we're going to add flour now. And the reason we're going to add flour is because if you don't add flour to this, it won't thicken. That's the key to a stew, right? You got to thicken a stew somehow. And the way I thicken the stew, or I was showing many moons ago, was to add flour. And I think I've got enough fat in there. Let's see. Do I? Yeah, I think so. Still medium heat. So this is 2 tablespoons. I only have whole wheat flour, or closer to that. So we're gonna sprinkle that on. We'll add all of it, but you want to put it in evenly. You don't want to just like dump it in there. Now this is the tough part because I got to stir really quickly, and I can only do this one-handed. The real way you want to do this is you want to hold your pot, but because I'm filming it, I can't hold it, so my pot's going to move around. So let's stir it really quickly. And the French would say this is a little bit of a roux. This is a thickener. And let's see if I can do this one hand while my pot moves around. See if it's balancing against my belly. I've got a bit of a belly, so I can do that. Yes. Improvise. All right. Okay. So, stir that up. And the reason why you want to do this, you actually do want to cook the flour, is you want to cook that raw taste of the flour out. Because otherwise, if you add your stock immediately, it won't taste as nice. So you're basically kind of cooking the flour, but you want to be fast, because you also don't want to burn your flour. It's a little awkward one-handed. Okay. These days I should get something to mount this on so I can actually do this a little fun. Okay, so that's been about a minute. Our flour's combined, it's started cooking, it's starting to stick a little bit. Let's add our stock all at once. So technically you're supposed to add a cold stock to a hot stock. Now stir quickly, again, stirring quickly, and this will start to thicken up. As soon as this boils, it will actually start to thicken up. Yes. Okay, that's looking nice. And your goal is you don't want to see any lumps, and I don't see any lumps, so that's good. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Beautiful. Now the next step in this recipe is I want to do something with this roasting pan, which is all this lovely caramelized bits of lamb in there. So I'm going to turn it up, and we're going to deglaze it. Now I want to, let's see, I'm going to lower this, just bring this down to a simmer. And you want to, and one thing about anytime you do a stew with flour, you're always going to have an eye for it, because this will take from start to finish. Once this goes in, this is 1 to 2 hours, depending on how tender you want your lamb on, because you don't want the flour mixture to stick to the bottom. Right now it's very lovely, and we'll keep going. Okay. So we're going to get this hot, and then we're going to add our beer, which is a beautiful one. This is a really nice beer on its own. I love brown ales. You can add a Guinness if you like. I've been making this with dark ale. I guess you could make this with lager. I guess you could make it with any beer of your choice, but I'm a fan of dark beers. Actually, I'm a fan of beer, period. So, beer is good. And beer is fun to cook with, too. So I want to lower this. I don't want it to boil too much. So that's just starting to heat up. We want to see that smoke. Let's see it just starting to heat up. And that's what you want, okay? This is on high. All in there. And this is called the glazing. So what you want to do with this beer mixture, which is now in the roasting pan, you're removing all that beautiful flavor. All that flavor is on the bottom of that roasting pan. There's a lot of flavor there. You want to bring this to a boil. And one reason why you want to bring this to a boil is you want to burn off a little of the alcohol so you don't get that raw flavor. And yeah, that's fine, I believe. Okay. Okay, so we're at 15 minutes. One of these days I want to post this to Instagram, but I believe anything after, we call it 5 minutes. Unless you do the Instagram TV, you can't do. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. So let's get that to the boil. Okay, this will take a few minutes. Let's take a little pause and I'll come back when it's at the boil. Then we'll add it into our gently simmering stew. Coming back. Okay, we're back. So our beer in the roasting pan has come to a boil. Beautiful. Okay. And I believe I may have to add a little water to this as well, so I should get that ready. Okay, I got some water here. I gotta get that ready in case I gotta add more, because once your stew is boiled, that's how thick it is. Okay, and as time goes on, this will reduce also. So I might have to thicken this. So that's come to a nice boil. Let's stir that around a little bit. This smells really nice, by the way. And we're going to add all this in one shot. Let's see if I can do it without a glove. I think the side is not that hot. Yeah, it is. Okay, so we're good. So we just put all that in there. Blob, like that. Put that in the sink. Of course, I have to film that because I'm one-handed. And then we start the stir again. Okay. One-handed. This is interesting. I really need a proper stand to do this, eh? Okay, so let's lower the heat down. We're on a smaller element. I want to blah, 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 blah. And once this returns to a boil, it will thicken up. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Then, so that's going to come to a boil. So then I'm going to add a little flavor. So we're going to do, those were the stalks of rosemary. The chopped rosemary, I will do later. And I'll chop it just before I put it in. Also, tomato goes in this. So I basically the recipe, I did this from my own head. I basically put about, tomato paste, I put about, say about a tablespoon. Holy cow. This is fun doing this one-handed, eh? Because usually my other hand would hold the can. Okay. Center this camera. Okay. So we do a little blob. And you can tell, you want, it adds a little color too, right? So we stir that in. You don't want too much in there. Because, tomato paste has you don't want it too red. Because it's basically a brown stew. And come on, just a little more. Just a little. So that's about a tablespoon there. Okay. Okay, so we mix that in. And then we're gonna start the cooking process. So this whole thing, so we're gonna let this simmer gently, partially covered, for about a half an hour. Then we're gonna add our carrots, which I'll dissect here. The peas, I use frozen peas because they're convenient. Also, shucking fresh peas are, what do you say, time-consuming. So let's do that. So that's going to come to a gentle boil. Put that on low. Okay. And we're going to come back when we're ready to add the carrots. And then in about an hour or so, we'll finish the whole thing. So coming back at you. Okay, we're back. Our stew is gently simmering. And it looks really nice. So it's lightly thickened. I don't like it too thick, eh? You can, if you wanted to, you could always thicken a little at the end, but I'm not looking for a super thick stew. I'm just looking something so it'll bind. because I don't like super thick stuff. Because flour and water, what is that? Basically, it's glue, right? So, anyways, so here's our carrots. I'm gonna dump this in. Boom. Yeah, baby. Okay. Okay. Give that a nice stir. Switch hands. Stir right-handed, so I like stirring with my right hand. Okay. Let's get a wide shot. Yes, wide shot. There's an above shot. So I catch the steam. So this is going to basically, so from this point in, it's going to be about an hour away. So the carrots are going to take a while to cook. And by the time the carrots are cooked, half an hour to an hour, well, I guess a half an hour for the, but basically, you can start checking this after, say maybe a half an hour, but it'll probably take about an hour. And the lamb is already fork tender. It'll be a little more tender. Actually, it could be a little more tender. I shouldn't really say that. It's not falling apart, but still, it could be more tender. Okay. Bottom line, yes. So just we're going to cover this, simmer it gently on low heat, and partially cover it because I just find it's easier. And just stir it from time to time because you don't want any of that flour, which is on the bottom here, to stick. Okay, because it'll actually start to burn. So whenever you're doing a stew with that's thickened with flour, always to remember stir it about every 15 minutes or so. Okay, I should actually give this a taste for seasoning. I usually season at the end because I seasoned the lamb a little bit that I roasted yesterday. So taste that for seasoning. Let's put that in our tummy. Mmm. The flavor of the beer really comes out, and it's really nice actually. It's just might need just a pinch more of salt, a pinch more of black pepper, but I'll do that all at the end, okay? Because once the peas go in, and then towards the end we're going to add the rosemary, which I'll chop. Now the reason I don't chop it ahead of time is that once you chop, especially with rosemary, and basil's the same, and I believe coriander is the same. As soon as you chop it, it's going to start to go black. So I'm going to do this really last minute. It's the last thing I'm going to put in. I'll probably put the peas in first. At least I think I will. Actually, I should look at the recipe that I wrote out years ago when I first created this beautiful stew.